we're at a moment in the movement where we're starting to debate, a little bit of infighting. I think it's more friendly than it's being portrayed sometimes online. But talk to us about this sensitivity that we have in terms of our coalition. The MAGA coalition is broad, and there's a lot of new factions in it. And one of the ways the left has beat us over the last decade plus is they move their coalitions more easily than we do. We move individuals, we move families, but we haven't had this task of moving these broad coalitions, keeping them unified. This is a new challenge for us. You're a movement leader, talk to us about it.
Yeah, it's a new challenge because also it is a challenge of success. When you win a popular vote majority, you have all these coalitions. And the president, he intentionally had to build unique coalitions because he was iced out because of the lawfare from a traditional Republican voting bloc.
Right.
So he had to be like, okay, if high prop voters there's no guarantee they're going to be with me, I got to go build these different pieces. So 3 that come to mind, outside of just the mainline Trump stuff, which was blue collar, that's obvious, right? That's easy. But 3 new ones. The first was kind of the libertarian crypto bros that are very big into transparency, and they are very distrustful of government. We'll get to that in a minute. MAGA. I think MAGA has actually been the coalition that has stayed together the best, delivering on their promises. They're happy, they're unified, they're goal-driven. Bobby Kennedy is crushing it at HHS.
Sure.
And then the third of which is just like general young people that have economic anxieties. President Trump was able to win the youth vote in Michigan, win it in so many other states. So then you kind of go to that first category. That's where the Epstein thing comes in. And that's where, I spoke to the president privately and publicly. I'm saying the same thing, like it's not a private conversation. The young people you won over that gave you that extra 1% to 2%, that kind of low prop guys that, go to bed at 4 a.m. and are trading crypto coins, and buying Dogecoin, they really are distrustful of the federal government. And the Epstein thing doesn't matter as much as it does in detail as it does in concept.
That's correct.
As it does in what it represents. And that's where I think it needs to be an understanding. I'm not an Epstein guy, meaning people have created their whole career talking about this stuff. I think I've talked about Epstein 3 times on my show, and I do 3 hours a day, I'm speaking. It's not that interesting to me. I guess I've become more interested in it in the last couple of days because people have reminded me all the elements. But my role is from the political project and keeping the coalition together. Be like, guys, do I think this will end MAGA? No. Do I think that we have a chance of 10 to 15% of our young men becoming the MAGA lost boys? Yes.
Right.
I think they could just disappear, and that would be tragic.
And we can't lose those numbers. So what's your recommendation on steps that we can take in the next year plus until the next midterm to keep people organized and cohesive?
First on the Epstein thing, this is all public, but I think that something's got to be done with these grand jury testimonies, something with unsealing. We got to try to move on this stuff, right? Secondly, I don't know what it was about Acosta, but Acosta came out and said that Epstein was a foreign intel asset.
Yes.
Figure it out. Ask him. He was a former Trump, cabinet appointee. Let's figure it out. And the final thing is silence is like nature abhors a vacuum, and MAGA abhors silence.
Yes.
And a week of we're going to leak something to Axios on Sunday night. We're going to wait all week. I was very restrained all week. I didn't want to talk about it. I was like, guys, we have deportations, fight with our cities. People are shooting at ICE officers. But the audience was like, no, this is huge. And I get it. And I don't want to ignore the audience. And especially when I think they're onto something, because the silence, what the problem was that the administration was not leading and leaning into it. They should have done a 3-hour press conference. Bondi, Blanche, Cash, Bongino, any question, only for new media. They should have done a new media. So they should have had Charlie Kirkshaw, Megyn Kelly, Alex Marlow, Steve Bannon, Jack Posobiec, no CNN. Could you imagine a new media? Because by the way, the legacy media doesn't care about this. You know how I know? They had 10 chances of reporters, President Trump going to Texas at the Sticks. They didn't ask about Epstein once. So this is a whole new media MAGA thing. So anyway, I think that hopefully will thoroughly answer your question on that.
Your idea is so good. I thought of this when I was talking to Jack Posobiec earlier. They need to provide the podcast strategy. They got to do it.